This video is presented by Western and Southern Financial Group, a game plan for your financial future. Every great team starts with a strong foundation, and your future should too. With life insurance built like a championship roster, Western and Southern helps protect what matters most so you can focus on winning today while planning for tomorrow. Whether you're just starting out your journey, building your dynasty, or ready to retire like a champion, Western and Southern has the right play for your life stage. Visit westernsouthern.com to get your free life insurance quote today. Western and Southern, built to win. The Browns are taking on the Chicago Bears in Chicago. Bears coming off of a last-second heartbreaking loss to Green Bay last week in Packers territory. You want to talk about the Brown side of things, or they themselves coming off a loss against the Tennessee Titans, or do you want to talk about Chicago?
Well, Trevor, you know me. Any opportunity that I get, I'm going to talk about Shedeur Sanders. I don't know how long. I don't know how long we're going to get to be able to do this, but we're going to talk about it. And listen, it's kind of what we said about him at Colorado, and obviously he doesn't always handle pressure the right way, backing out of the pocket, putting the ball in danger, things like that. But the last couple of games when he's been in a clean pocket, he's actually looked pretty good. His last two starts, an 84.1 passing grade in a clean pocket. Trev, that's the sixth best in the NFL. About a 90% adjusted completion rate, 9 yards per attempt, 2 big-time throws, and no turnover-worthy plays. And look, the one caveat here is that his average depth of target in these spots is pretty low. Kevin Stefanski has at times tried to help him out with the screen game and some easier throws, but when he is kept clean back there, which isn't very often behind this Browns offensive line, he's looked okay. You saw it in spurts last week when he was able to step up in the pocket and have the confidence and trust in his offensive line. He looks like a guy who could fulfill the potential that he has, right? It was kind of the same way at Colorado. There were games where, their offensive line was just such a train wreck that he had to bail out and improvise and make plays. But the days when he stepped up and he trusted them and trusted the protection, he can step up and make some really nice throws. He played a really good game last week outside of a couple of mistakes against Tennessee. And this Bears secondary, look, if they're not getting turnovers, we saw it last week against Jordan Love, now completely different team, the Browns and the Packers, although they did beat the Packers. It's just one of those things where he has the ability. It's right there. He can move a little bit. He can step up in the pocket. He is accurate when his feet are set. It's not like he's a non-threat back there, right? I think a lot of people are like, oh, he's just overrated. And this guy was fantastic in Colorado, and it was shown then and it's shown now. If you get him protection, which he hasn't had a whole lot of even with the Browns, if you get him protection, he's looked okay. I think the Bears in their pass rush need to be able to do a good job instead of giving Shedeur opportunities back there like Tennessee did last week.
Yeah, I think that Shedeur is certainly giving them more than any of the quarterbacks that they have started before him this season. We talked about that on Monday. It should be his job throughout the rest of the season. It really should. They have to figure out what they have in the quarterback that gives them the highest ceiling, and I think that Shedeur is that. So I'm excited to see him play in this game, especially against a defense that is very good at forcing those turnovers, right? Like, Is Shedeur going to be able to keep the ball out of harm's way? Because we watched last week with him against the Titans. I mean, that throw to David Njoku in the end zone was just an absolute beauty. The throw to Jerry Jeudy, that layered throw between the corner and the safety, again, just an absolute beauty. He had some nice tight window type of throws that we saw from him last week. The Bears have been able to take those tight window throws and not just turn them into forced incompletions, but sometimes interceptions, which can be backbreakers, right? And we've seen some mistakes from Shedeur like earlier in the season. Do we see that growth from him against a defense that has been pretty ferocious and leads the NFL in the turnover margin? I'm excited to see this matchup for him. On the Bears side of things, you talked about this on Monday, the lack of explosive runs last week for the Chicago Bears against the Green Bay Packers. 0 explosive runs, so runs of more than 10 yards last week. The Browns, 2 explosive runs against the Titans last week, which ended up being big reasons why they lost to the Titans. But they've only allowed 27 explosive runs all year long. That is 11th best in the NFL. So it's interesting. You look at the total season output for the Browns, and they've really been able to clamp down on the run game and not allow those explosive runs. But certainly that was the reason, I think a big reason, I should say, why they weren't able to win against the Titans last week because Tony Pollard had a couple of really big runs on him, and they ended up not just going for big yardage and first downs, but for touchdowns. Do they shore that up? Do they contain that a little bit better? Because we know that Chicago wants to stay balanced in what they do. Did they get the explosive run game back this week? That's what I'm looking forward to seeing. I think this is tight. I think this is close. I'm going to go 17-16 here. But the Bears win it. I got the Bears winning this one.
I don't know if you've seen the weather reports for Chicago this weekend, and I've been at a game like this that's just ridiculous. There are rumors that the wind chill will be somewhere near -20 at Soldier Field this week. So
that's why I got low scoring, baby.
Yeah, the Bears better be able to run the football, and they're the team more equipped to run the football here. I think Ben Johnson has built an offense that is capable of winning in those conditions. It's going to be very hard for both quarterbacks when it's that cold and that windy. I remember being at a game a couple years ago at Christmas Eve, Bears and Bills, and the kickoff temperature was -9 degrees. That was a whole lot of fun, and a wind chill of like -30 or some nonsense.
You say that's
like that.
fun?
I mean,
you say that's fun
in a sarcastic sort of manner. Yeah, yeah.
What was the okay? Now I have to know before we move on. What were the layers for that game to go to a game that's -9? What were you wearing?
Oh man, it was at least 3 or if not 4. Maybe it might have been four layers and a solid pregame, so you didn't have to feel it quite as much. Right. I mean, kind of that situation there, you know. So it was right at noon, and actually the weirdest part of it, because you know NFL games are always full, they're always sold out. Trevor, there was nobody. Because it was that cold and the Bears were heavy underdogs against the Bills that day, nobody sitting in the upper tank. Nobody. The stadium was
it windy that day?
Oh yeah, it was the temperature. The kickoff temperature was like -9, and the wind chill and it was like -25 or -30.
No, I can't. I wouldn't be able to do that. Like
Nobody sitting upper deck off of Lake Michigan like that. Just no one. There may not be anybody upper tank in this game.
I've got enough Florida blood in me where I stay away from these situations in general. If you told me that it was just bitter cold, like something around like 0 or in the negative degrees, you could throw on a couple of layers, go to a football game, maybe have a good time with your buddies, whatever that is. But if you throw wind in there, now I'm out. I can't. That's where you lose me. That's where you lose me. I can't do the wind chill stuff. Can't do it.
No, they're gonna be those two teams. You're gonna see it out there. They're gonna be hurting out there this week. It's a rough Chicago day that's coming on Sunday. But I have the Bears 20-13. I think the run game is enough to get through in this game. And really, I think a heavy part of this is which team is gonna force a couple of turnovers and get themselves a short field, because I do think it could be in those conditions hard to throw the football.